By the time I turned 22, I was making thousands of dollars a day in profit online. And I'm not telling you this to brag, it's literally useless. I'm telling you this because 5 years ago, I was the complete opposite of that person. I was broke, undisciplined, a quitter. I was afraid of the outside world. I had so much anxiety, in fact, I couldn't even leave my parents' house to go for a walk. Do you realize how pathetic this is? My head was full of ambition and big dreams, but I couldn't force myself to take any real action. Instead, I'd numb myself with instant gratification, scrolling for hours, binge-watching shows, playing games, anything to avoid the discomfort of actually building something meaningful. And the shift from that person to someone running a business that generates over $1,000 a day in profit didn't happen because I suddenly became superhuman. It happened because I learned how to make hard things feel easier than the dopamine hits I was chasing. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do the same. The main reason why hard things feel absolutely unbearable for you right now is because your brain is hijacked by fast dopamine. I'm talking about social media, junk food, video games, porn. These quick hit pleasures spike your dopamine temporarily. You get that instant rush, but then it crashes hard, leaving you depleted, unmotivated, and craving the next hit like an addict. When your dopamine baseline is constantly being spiked and crashed by these activities, everything else feels boring and pointless by comparison. Studying feels like torture. Working out feels impossible. Building a business feels really overwhelming because none of those things give you that instant reward your brain has been trained to expect. If you want hard things to feel easier, you need to reclaim your dopamine baseline. That means reducing or eliminating these fast pleasure activities for a period of time. Ideally, at least for 2 weeks, but longer is better. When your baseline dopamine stabilizes, something incredible happens. The same hard work that felt impossible before suddenly starts feeling achievable, even rewarding. You start finding satisfaction in the work itself, in the progress itself, not just in the final result you want. And that, my friend, is when everything changes. If you want to discover how I've made thousands of dollars a day online, I've made a free training that will show you everything step by step. The link will be in the description. And for a limited time, you can also apply to book a free call with me or a member of my team. On that call, we'll see what's blocking you from making more money, and we'll give you a custom step-by-step plan so you can start your business today, even with $0 in startup capital, and get your first customers as quickly as possible. The link is in the description, but be quick because we have very limited spots and they fill up fast. I need you to understand that discomfort is not the enemy. It's a signal you're doing something worthwhile. Every hard task, every big goal comes with initial pain. For example, mental strain when you're studying, physical burn when you're working out, frustration when you're doing deep work on a difficult problem. The discomfort is unavoidable. But here's the key. You need to learn to interpret this discomfort as a necessary step toward a long-lasting reward, not as a sign that something's wrong. People spend their entire lives trying to avoid pain at any cost. But what these same people don't get is that no matter what you choose to do, you will feel pain. Period. It's painful to be out of shape. If you have kids, to not be able to go play with them because you are literally out of breath every 5 seconds. It's painful to look at yourself in the mirror and hate the way you look. But guess what? It's also painful to drag your ass in the gym and to work out 1 hour every day, to eat healthier. No matter what you choose to do, it's painful. So why wouldn't you choose to feel the pain that at least gives you actual rewards? So instead of trying to avoid pain at any cost, ask yourself, how can I choose the pain that actually makes me suffer for something that's worthwhile? When you reframe pain as progress, you can persist through the toughest moments without quitting or sabotaging yourself. Instead of thinking, oh, this feels terrible, I should stop, you think, this feels difficult because I'm growing. It's meant to be difficult. That simple reframe is the difference between people who quit as soon as things get a little bit hard and people who push through and actually achieve their goals. The people that everybody looks up to, the ones who are rich and in shape, in great relationships. Think about it like this. If your goal is to get jacked, you go to the gym and you lift some heavy shit. Your muscle fibers are literally getting torn apart. It hurts. It's uncomfortable. Sometimes you don't want to do that extra rep. But that's not a sign you're doing something wrong. That's the entire point. Those micro tears in your muscles are exactly what's necessary for them to grow back stronger. No pain, no gain. If you stopped every time it burnt or felt hard, you'd never see results. So the pain isn't the problem. It's the natural process. Growth requires damage first, whether it's in your muscles or in your comfort zone. Now look, your ability to tackle hard things tomorrow depends heavily on how you spend your evenings today. If you're scrolling TikTok until 2 a.m., binge-watching Netflix, eating junk food, and overstimulating your brain with fast dopamine, you're sabotaging the next day before it even starts. Instead, avoid fast dopamine activities late at night. Turn off screens at least an hour before bed. Create a wind-down routine that supports recovery, reflection, and planning. Even simple habits like journaling for 10 minutes, taking a walk, or reading an actual book can restore your mental energy. This makes it far easier to focus, work, and push through discomfort the next day. Winning the evening is one of the highest leverage things you can do. It sets the tone for everything that follows. The thing that allowed me to stop procrastinating was structuring my days around my peaks and troughs in energy levels. Not all hours are equal when it comes to productivity. Your dopamine, your cortisol, your norepinephrine levels fluctuate throughout the day, so scheduling your hardest tasks during peak energy hours is critical. For most people, deep work and analytical thinking should happen in the morning when your focus is highest. Your prefrontal cortex is fresh, willpower is strong, and distractions haven't worn you down yet. Things like creative tasks, administrative work, and relaxed activities fit better later in the day when your energy naturally dips. Aligning tasks with your natural rhythm dramatically reduces resistance and increases consistency because you're no longer working against your biology, now you're working with it. Stop trying to force yourself to do deep work at 9 p.m. after work when your brain is completely fried. Structure your days more intelligently, and hard things become significantly easier. Look, doing hard things consistently isn't just about discipline. It's actually about becoming the type of person who does hard things. An identity change requires evidence of it. Every time you complete a challenging task or a workout, for example, you reinforce your new identity. You're casting a vote for the person you want to become. Missing one day is fine technically, sure, life happens, but make sure it doesn't become 2 or 3 days in a row, because that's when you start losing the identity you've worked so hard to build. The goal is to cast daily votes that prove to yourself who you are, and over time, this gradually solidifies habits and makes challenging tasks feel like part of your identity rather than something you're trying to force yourself to do, something that's foreign. For example, you're not someone who tries to work out, you're someone who works out. You're not someone trying to build a business, you are a business owner. That small reframe, that identity shift can feel like it's just a play on words, but in reality, it's who you are. Our actions are always consistent with our behavior. If you're overweight and you see yourself as somebody who's overweight, lazy, who doesn't have willpower, how long are you going to stick to a diet plan and a workout routine? You won't, because you've got this identity of being the person who doesn't stick to those things. Before your external reality changes, your mind needs to change. If you want to discover how I've made thousands of dollars a day online, I've made a free training that will show you everything step by step. The link will be in the description. And for a limited time, you can also apply to book a free call with me or a member of my team. On that call, we'll see what's blocking you from making more money, and we'll give you a custom step-by-step plan so you can start your business today, even with $0 in startup capital, and get your first customers as quickly as possible. The link is in the description, but be quick because we have very limited spots and they fill up fast. Something I had to learn the hard way is that consistency beats intensity every single time. I'll be honest with you, I used to buy into the whole hustle culture mentality. You know, the idea that if you're not working 24/7, then you're not serious about success and you won't get it. So I tried forcing myself into this insane routine. Waking up at 5 a.m., taking cold showers straight after waking up, meditation, working out daily, grinding for 12 hours a day. And you know what happened? I couldn't stick to it for more than 3 days in a row because it's fucking hard. Like, how do you expect to go from being a lazy ass to this superhuman overnight? You can't. That's not how human beings work. The problem wasn't my ambition. It was thinking I could just flip a switch and become a completely different person, literally overnight. Real change doesn't happen through these intense bursts that burn you out. It happens through small, manageable habits you can actually maintain day after day. Life will throw obstacles at you, plenty of them. You'll get sick, you'll have emergencies, you'll have bad days. That's inevitable. But here's the rule. If you miss a day, get back to it immediately. Don't beat yourself up, don't even think about it, get back to it immediately. One missed session isn't a failure. But 2 in a row starts to build dangerous momentum in the wrong direction. Momentum of avoidance. This principle keeps progress moving forward without letting setbacks snowball into long-term failure. It's a simple rule, but it's actually incredibly powerful. Something else that helped me to cure my procrastination habit was to break intimidating tasks into micro steps. When a hard task feels impossible, shrink it to just 5% of its total scope. Don't think about writing a 10-page report, just open your notebook. Don't think about the full workout, just put on your gym shoes. Don't think about building an entire business, taking calls back to back all day. Just open your laptop and write one paragraph. Micro steps bypass procrastination and reduce mental friction, making it easier to engage with the task. And here's what's wild. Often once you've started, Momentum carries you way farther than you expected. The hardest thing is always starting. Make starting as frictionless as possible. Did you know that human beings are creatures of habit? That's why, in order to stick to our good habits, the best thing we can do is to create a predictable, repeatable signal that primes our brain for the hard thing we're about to do. This could be making a cup of tea before studying, doing 5 minutes of stretching before a workout, or journaling for 3 minutes before deep work. It might seem insignificant at first, but over time, these small rituals become automatic triggers. Your brain learns, oh, we're making tea. That means it's study time. The ritual reduces the decision fatigue and mental resistance that usually comes when starting a difficult task. You're essentially Pavloving yourself, but in a productive way. And it works incredibly well. Now look, I know that you want fast results. I know you want to get the girl now. I know you want $1 million in the bank right now. And I know you want to see your abs right now after 1 day of dieting. And I'm not blaming you. I'm just like that too. But to give ourselves the highest chance of reaching our goals, we need to pace ourselves realistically. Avoid trying to do everything all at once. If there's one lesson I've learned after trying to change my life overnight and failing God knows how many times, it's that slow, consistent effort wins over heavy, unsustainable bursts every single time. Now for you, decide whether it's better to work shorter daily sessions or longer, less frequent ones. There's no universal right answers. It depends on your schedule, your energy levels, and the specific task. The key is creating a rhythm you can maintain without burning out. When you pace yourself realistically, hard things become less intimidating and more habitual. You're building for the long term, not sprinting until you collapse. If you want to discover how I've made thousands of dollars a day online, I've made a free training that will show you everything step by step. The link will be in the description. And for a limited time, you can also apply to book a free call with me or a member of my team. On that call, we'll see what's blocking you from making more money, and we'll give you a custom step-by-step plan so you can start your business today, even with $0 in startup capital, and get your first customers as quickly as possible. The link is in the description, but be quick because we have very limited spots and they fill up fast. Something else we can do is to make the hard work the reward itself. Here's a philosophical shift that changed how I approach everything. Hard work isn't just a means to an end. The effort itself is part of the reward. Every push, every rep, every hour of focused work contributes directly to becoming the person capable of achieving your goals. The process is inseparable from the outcome. When you view effort as inherently valuable, not just as something you have to suffer through to get what you want, you eliminate the mental resistance that comes from seeing hard tasks as unpleasant chores. You're not enduring work to get to the reward. The work is the reward because it's transforming you into someone stronger, more capable, more disciplined. Now you're no longer going to the gym because you want to see your abs. You're doing it because you genuinely enjoy the process of lifting, feeling your body get stronger, pushing for that extra rep. You're not grinding through work calls because you need the money. You're doing it because you love getting better at reading people, handling objections, and closing deals. You're not waking up early to check off some productivity box. You're doing it because you actually appreciate having quiet time to think, plan, and get ahead before the world wakes up. You're not learning new skills just to add them to your resume. You're doing it because the act of learning itself, of going from incompetent to competent, is genuinely satisfying. When you make this shift, everything changes. You stop waiting for results to feel good about what you're doing, and you actually start finding fulfillment in the daily grind itself. And tons of studies have shown time and time again that people who enjoy the grind actually go so much further and become so much more successful than people who just try and force themselves to do it. Why? Because they all end up giving up eventually. Now we need to address self-sabotage. I've been a victim of this myself. Let's be real. How many times did you promise yourself you were gonna start waking up earlier, or quit smoking, or go on a diet, but then you couldn't follow through? Your inner voice will always resist hard tasks. That's actually normal. It's trying to protect you from discomfort. But instead of ignoring it or trying to crush it with pure willpower, negotiate with it. Identify what it wants: distraction, rest, comfort, and find a compromise that allows you to proceed. Play music while working if that helps. Break tasks into smaller chunks. Switch contexts briefly if you need to. Incorporating your rebellious impulses without letting them control you ensures sustained progress without constant mental warfare. You're working with yourself, not against yourself, and that's the key to long-term consistency. The thing you need to understand is that making hard things easier than scrolling YouTube isn't about becoming a robot with infinite willpower. It's not possible. It's about understanding how your brain works and structuring your environment, habits, and mindset to work with your biology instead of against it. Reset your dopamine baseline by cutting out fast pleasure activities. Reframe discomfort as progress. Win your evenings. Structure your day around peak energy. Build your identity through small wins. Never miss twice in a row. Break tasks into micro steps. Use rituals to trigger focus. Pace yourself realistically. View effort as inherently rewarding, and negotiate with your resistance instead of fighting it. These aren't just a bunch of tactics, they're a complete system for rewiring how you relate to challenge and discomfort. Success isn't about overnight miracles, it's about consistent, strategic action. You have to understand your future self is watching your current choices right now. The person I was 5 years ago, broke, undisciplined, paralyzed by fear, that person is gone because I implemented these exact principles. I didn't become superhuman. I just made hard things feel easier than the cheap dopamine hits I was chasing. Behind the hard tasks you're avoiding is the results you've been dreaming of. With that being said, if you'd like me to personally help you to build a profitable online business so you can reach financial freedom as quickly as possible, check out the links in the description below, and I will see you on the other side.